Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. All right, so Campaign is headed to the Bucks. Wenyen Gabriel is headed to the Celtics. These are things that I thought you guys may want to know upon the circumstances. Of course, we now see their team starting to shake out. Heat still have yet to sign anyone. I got all kinds of stuff on my head for no reason. But yeah, that's what it is, man. Wenyen is hopping from the Lakers to the Celtics. Trader. I ain't feeling it at all. I know the Lakers didn't want to resign you, but all the teams you had to sign with, you signed with the ops. No love there. I ain't happy about it, Wenyen. I ain't happy. I ain't gonna pretend I am. Campaign, I'm happy to see him land with the Bucks, playing behind Dame Lillard. That's gonna be a good thing for Campaign. He's an underrated player in this league at this point, man. He is getting waived by San Antonio. San Antonio also waived Reggie Bullock. I expect for him to sign with one of those three teams, to be honest with you, although I haven't heard any rumors. It just makes sense. These are the teams that need him. All the loose players that are out there need to be signing with the Celtics, the Heat, or the Bucks at this point. Looking at the Celtics depth chart, I listened to an entire Celtics podcast this morning. Trio of guys. I really enjoyed what they did, even though they're the ops. They really had a fantastic podcast. I listened to all 2.5 hours of it while I was working out. And essentially, they were helping me understand that their depth isn't that good, man. It is not where it needs to be. It's not where I thought it was anyway. They're going to be relying upon some people that I wasn't anticipating them having to rely upon when I was reporting on the trade this morning. With Grant Williams now being gone, Marcus Smart now being gone, Robert Williams now being gone, obviously Malcolm Brogdon out of the picture. You look at that Celtics depth chart, they need to sign some people. I think Wenyen Gabriel is going to have a legitimate role there, and I think they're going to like him a lot. I did. I thought he was fantastic. He's a much better rebounder than people realize, especially on the offensive end. He's very effective in putbacks and stuff like that. He's going to run the floor hard. He's going to bring a fantastic presence to the locker room. He's much better than people think. And he's going to be able to step in front of Cornette, in my opinion. Now, he doesn't stretch the floor, which is probably a problem for the Boston Celtics since they want to launch threes to no end. And listening to the guys who were doing the podcast over there, the Garden Report is what I was watching. Shout out to them. They were essentially just talking about everything there was to mention about their team. You know, one of the guys is really going to miss Robert Williams, but he just has to understand, is my opinion. You have to understand that Robert Williams is an injury-prone guy at this point, and you need more reliable players. And bringing in Drew Holiday in a trade like that makes a lot of sense. Now, I think they're going to wish they kept that Golden State pick. As I told you in that last video, I'm not a big fan of Golden State's moves. And I think that their old core is susceptible to get hurt. And their young guys are going to have to make big jumps in order for them to keep up with the Western Conference, in my opinion. This is not the greatest situation. I don't expect anybody to demand a trade or nothing like that. But I just need to see what they're going to do with Chris Paul's contract. If they can find a taker to take that contract and give them some pieces, that would be great. But I don't think they should have traded Jordan Poole for that contract under any circumstance. I really think that was a mistake. So now they got Chris Paul, and they're trying to pretend like he's going to be their starting point guard when in actuality they really want to trade him. And that was just not something I think they're going to get They're not going to get anything for Chris Paul's contract, so they're probably going to have to really start a season like that, and I think they were actually bluffing. But nevertheless, Golden State, you know, from what I understand, just flip away from Golden State. The Blazers are now looking to trade Malcolm Brogdon as expected. That's the same thing I said in the video I made about the trade. You don't keep Malcolm Brogdon in this situation no more than you keep Drew Holiday. He's just another piece you plan on flipping. And depending on what they get for him will really determine what they got for Dame Lillard. So the Dame Lillard trade, believe it or not, is not quite done until they move Malcolm Brogdon for whatever they're going to move him for. I hear the Clippers may be interested. The Miami Heat are possibly interested. So we'll see what happens with Brogdon. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I want to double back to Milwaukee and say Campaign, an underrated player for them. I think they're going to like having him down there as a depth piece behind Dame, to play some defense, has some finals experience. Just a guy that I think is much better than he's been treated in the last couple of years. He's shown he has some real ability. Back when the Suns made the finals, he had a really good playoffs. And I just don't think he's been able to get off the ground since. Putting him on the Bucks is a good thing because they don't have a whole lot of depth. Now, I do like a player on the Bucks that nobody knows is there, Lindell Wigginton. I've been telling y'all about him for all summer. He had some really good games near the end of the season in garbage time. And I just think they should invest in his development as a regular upside piece for them, a rotational piece. If he can duplicate some of what he's done, he too needs to be playing some down there with their team not being very deep. So it's just all about what you believe in when you're teams like this. Some of them want to use young players, others let them just be buried in the depth chart. But not Lindell Wigington. You use him also. The Clippers did sign Josh Primo to a two-way contract. They took my advice. I made a Josh Primo video earlier yesterday morning before he was signed, telling people like the Clippers to pick him up. And they did. I think the Clippers made the right decision, giving him a two-way contract. Hopefully he's worked through his mental issues or whatever he was going through when he was showing himself to the psychiatrist 9 damn times. But overall, we're past that. He's 20 years old, so whatever it was, just need to continue to work on him mentally, and from now also work on his game. So he's going to be an excellent piece to the Clippers. Definitely one of their young upside pieces that they're going to be able to invest in, and you can see a nice little young situation happen with the Clippers slowly but surely. Josh Primo, Kobe Brown, Coffee. Did they trade Coffee? They might have traded Coffee somewhere. I don't know about that, but you could definitely see Terrence Mann in that mix. That's a trio of young players that you can feel pretty good about in the process of trying to slowly but surely bring the Clippers some tradable assets that can ultimately balloon from little to nothing. So that's a nice package for the Clippers right there. You somewhere down the road, maybe a year from now, you still have those players. You could trade that trio for something good if they turn to what I believe they can. So things are starting to brighten up a little bit in Clipperland slowly but surely. If they keep doing stuff like that, they will be okay some way, somehow, someday. So that's good for y'all, Clipper fans. What else? It's little stuff like that happening around the league. Of course, we talked about Kelly Oubre going to the Philadelphia 76ers. I thought that was a good idea until I found out what the situation was off the court with him and James Harden. They're probably going to mess with the chemistry there. I would be looking to move one of those two players before the start of the season, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if James Harden moved. I would not be surprised if James Harden moved. Nobody sees it coming, but I do. It's up to Daryl Morey to do that, though, unless he just wants to be petty and keep him on the team, which I think the Philadelphia 76ers ownership should not allow, man. Don't allow Joel Embiid to start the season and Tyrese Maxey, your two most important pieces, start the season with the GM and the guy you brought in that you're looking to trade having some type of war back and forth that's affecting how you're building your team. That is bad. That is bad. Both of them need to go. Daryl Morey needs to go, and James Harden need to go. Both of y'all. Get the hell out of my team if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't want neither one of y'all here no more. Take both of y'all behinds back to Houston because y'all playing games with my franchise if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers fan. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. We got the whole MVP here who's talking about how he's kind of wants to be here, kind of don't. You got Tyrese Maxey, a young player who's likely going to make an all-star team very soon. We do not have time to be playing around with Daryl Morey and James Harden. When they came here as friends, now they want to leave as enemies and doing stuff that affects the team. I'm not for it if I'm a Philadelphia 76er fan. I'm not having it. And they better be glad BDF 44 is not a Philadelphia 76er or person. You better be glad I'm over here with the Lakers because I would be blasting y'all twice a day. I promise you. I would be blasting y'all twice a day. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. When it comes to certain things like that, I don't have any tolerance because at the end of the day, it's the fans and the rest of the team and Joel Embiid that has to be on the hook for that nonsense. So that is just garbage. I'm sorry. I like Kelly Oubre as a piece. If they can get along somehow, that would be great. But the way that story has been told, Daryl Morey knows damn well that's not going to happen. You know, it's that kind of thing. That they ain't going to get along. How? That's going to be the question. How? It was almost, it's worse than any of the other situations. I remember the Lakers had a situation like that with a couple of our players where homie had dated homie's mom, that kind of thing. But we were able to keep them away from each other. And now that player's in Milwaukee and Scotty's with us. So it's like, we don't want to play games with that type of stuff. You don't bring that into your locker room unless you can keep those players separate. And in the case of Kelly Oubre and James Harden, you won't be able to, and Daryl Morey didn't want him to. And so that's some garbage right there. But anyway, so as we move forward, and I don't know why Kelly signed with that team, man. You know that boy over there. Why would you? Anyway, but yeah, that's kind of how that goes. At this point, I haven't made any Laker videos, you guys, and one of the reasons why is because my team, we're just settled, man. There's nothing, we ain't doing nothing. You know what I mean? We're not making any moves, and I don't want to. I want us to start the season exactly the way we are, unless we were going to do something to make a trade for Drew Holiday, as to which I didn't want to give up what we had to give up to do so. I don't want James Harden. I'm cool on that. So As far as what I want my Lakers to do is really nothing. If Robert Williams somehow becomes available, I think he would be a good center for us. We definitely need what he does. But again, my issue with Robert Williams is how many games do I expect you to play? And I slap you next to who? Anthony Davis? Nah, I don't need to bring myself more injury-prone guys. But if for some crazy reason he gets bought out and once he signed with the Lakers, that would be amazing for us. But I just have very tempered expectations for his availability as well as his athleticism with the knees being so bad. And from what I understand, the Portland Trail Blazers want to hold on to him. So I don't expect he will be moved. Yeah, that's what's there to see. As I said, the Boston Celtics are going to be using some real role players. I was listening to one of their guys, the same one who said he was not happy about Robert Williams being traded. He said a few things that I didn't necessarily agree with. And I'm going to just say it like this. I don't believe you have to settle for players that can't play. One of the things he was saying is, if everybody could dribble, shoot, and defend, all the guys would be making $50 million. Sometimes you just need some guys on your team that just aren't as good to make your team what it's going to be. No, you don't. No, you don't. I vehemently disagree. And that was one of the things I was telling my Lakers about 3 years ago. We do not need to have, with all due respect, scrubs on the team. No. I don't have to settle for a guy who can't do everything necessary to be a professional on a basketball floor in 2023. Now, if this was 1985, 1988, maybe even a little further down, like 1987, 97 rather. Okay, yeah, we need some guys because half of these dudes are not developing. Half of them, you know what I mean? It don't take as much to be a pro. But now, with the G League in place, with overseas talent everywhere, all these guys are all over the league, I don't have to settle for no scrubs. I don't have to, no. What I need to do is develop these guys in my G League talent pool. If I get a G League team, I need guys that can really go. What he doesn't realize when he says that is, my Lakers got guys that can do the things that he say he's settling without. A guy like Fudge, a guy like a Demoy Hodge. These are the players you need over there. You don't need to be dealing with the players that you're talking about, let's bring back Blake Griffin. Nah, hell nah. What you need is a G League affiliate and a scouting department that knows how to find these guys. The world is not devoid of basketball talent, man. It's not. It is not devoid of basketball talent. Please don't believe that, everyone. Just because there are guys out there telling you this, and we got to settle for guys that have everybody with... No. Everybody can play if they are being developed properly. You're going to find enough people who can't. If anything, the league needs to expand so they can have more roles for the talent that's out there. This is what I've been talking about. If you look at the Charlotte Hornets, a lot of the Charlotte Hornets bench needs to be on the Celtics making up their depth. You ain't got to settle for none of that crap. You just need to be able to get some of that stuff off of the Charlotte Hornets. You need to get some of that stuff off of the OKC Thunder. You need to get some of that stuff out of the Pacers. There's a lot of players that can make your team better instead of settling for stuff that ain't no good just because you don't think it's nothing else out there. That is a fallacy. It's a lie. There's plenty of talent out there. There's guys overseas that can't wait to get an opportunity. You can run, jump, defend, length, all kinds of stuff. You don't need to settle for old men that can't play no more, and you certainly don't need to settle for scrubs in 2024, 2023. Absolutely not. That is not what it is anymore. I'm telling you. That is wrong. That is just wrong. And he's settling for stuff that he don't need to settle for. He's believing stuff that he doesn't need to believe. And I'm just going to be honest. And when it really comes down to it, once you start putting pressure on your teams to do things the right way, you will see them make changes. They will develop. Their team, they will. I'm living proof. I've watched my Lakers over the last 3 years as I've been killing them about bringing in scrubs and not developing young talent. I've seen them turn it around. You do not... Especially if you're the Celtics with 17 championships trying to get your 18th, especially if you're a team of that nature. You do not need to be bringing in players that are not any good and then saying we're just kind of shallow and we just got to live with that because we got too much of our cap space going to our other guys. No, you need to find something out of nothing, and there's plenty of it out there. Why weren't you guys getting Josh Primo? You know what I'm saying? Why aren't you the guys drafting some of these dudes we've been talking about who are getting these unsigned guys? You couldn't get a Castleton. You couldn't, you know what I mean? That is what is available out there if you have good enough scouts who know what they're doing. You don't have to pay $50 million for a guy who knows how to play. You just got to have a guy who's willing to work hard so he can make $50 million 3 years from now elsewhere. That's what it's about. He ain't going to get that money right now, but he going to get it somewhere. Maybe not with you, but for now, he can make $3 million and play a very solidified role with all of the attributes you're looking for that you say you can't find in other players. Get more imaginative. Stop letting your team settle for trash. Because when you don't put pressure on them, they ain't going to make the difference. And I'm telling you, it's going to be the difference between you not being good enough to win a championship. I look at the Denver Nuggets. Y'all should be getting some of these players we're talking about, man. Everybody's just assuming that Jokic's going to shoot the Nuggets into the finals. Jokic had a team for 7 players on it last year. 8. One of those guys is gone. And they brought in some rookies they're hoping going to work out. Maybe some second-year guys that they never developed last year because they didn't play them. They are one rolled ankle from not making the playoffs, just like they were when they won the championship. And not enough people are ready to acknowledge that. Yes, they had a play style that was hard to defeat. Yes, Jokic may be the best player in all of basketball right now. But the reality is his 2 co-stars are injury-prone. And Bruce Brown is gone. I don't expect Denver Nuggets to do nothing. Why? Because they are one injury away from not. And that, my friends, is a bad bet when you got this many games to play. 81 games plus playoffs, that's a bad bet. I'm trying to tell people, man, depth matters. And you are getting lucky if you're able to get through the season with only 8 players in rotation. That is luck. That ain't something you bet on. Hell no. Especially when you look at teams like the Lakers who are deep. Phoenix, who's put together a lot of depth for themselves. Sacramento, who's naturally deep, got 30 players on their roster. Nobody even talks about that. You look at teams that are out here that they're going to have to go against, and they run them same old 8 guys every day, and you expect them to stay healthy. One of them got a back brace in his back, in Porter. Is he going to get the back brace out? We talk about that. Is he going to ever get that brace out, or is he going to be there for another season? You got Murray with the knee. No. The Denver Nuggets are not a good bet to win the championship this year. They weren't that great of a bet to win the championship when they did. They just happen to win it. So that's what I'm telling people, man. Some of this stuff, I'm telling you, if you ain't going to do it with depth, and you think some of these guys are going to be able to run this many games, you want them to play 48 minutes for 81 games because you don't have no depth. How are they going to recover from the injuries that they do pick up without the depth? And you want to run guys like Cornette, no disrespect, because I've seen him do good things, but he ain't going to cut it. Nah, not if you're trying to win. Not if you have championship expectations. Absolutely not. And it is the difference between not winning it. That's the point. So I look at my team, I say we're in a great spot. The only question I have about my Lakers is, are we relying upon too many young guys this soon in a championship situation? Which is nothing you can do nothing about. You can't do anything about it because if you start trading them away, you're going to deplete yourself of that depth. So there's nothing you can do. You just got to live with it and hope these guys make big jumps right out the gate. Or you just rely on your best 8. But you know you got some guys behind them that need to be developed. So we're so dang deep, it ain't even funny, man. We are excited about our G League affiliate guys. We're excited about people that we picked up off the street and the guys we got in our second units, third units. We're the deepest team in the NBA. And I know people are, they're not really sure of that. And whether it translates to us winning or not is a whole nother story. Because a lot of these guys ain't never played together. Plus, we got second year Darvin Ham. You know what I mean? He had a fantastic playoffs, but we know the regular season was rough. And I'm being nice when I say rough. We were mad at him a good portion of the time, the rotations and small ball. So, I'm poised for more of that. And then listening to the Boston Celtics, they weren't too happy with Mazzulla last year. A first-year guy who had been an assistant for a while. They weren't too happy when they listened to them talk about Mazzulla. One of the things they were saying was, you got to find a way to get to make your system make more sense in regards to 3-point shots. 3-point shots and defense don't necessarily go hand in hand. If you want to be a volume 3-point shooting team, you got to make sure you have the right players on the floor to do it. And for me, if I look at the Boston Celtics, the one question I have is, how long is Al Horford going to play at the level they need him to? Al Horford is a fantastic player. He's been that way for a long time. I probably put him in the Hall of Fame, even though I know a lot of people may not. I got Horford in the Hall of Fame. However, at this age, you want him to play a real role. And then his backup is Cornette and Wenyen Gabriel. And Porzingis, who ain't going to play much. If you're counting on Porzingis to play 81 games, I promise you, I got some beachfront property in Iowa for you. They're going to be running small ball a lot. Against who? Joel Embiid? Against the Orlando Magic, who had their number last year with all them 7-footers they got? Including Anthony Black, who's running point guard at like 6'8". Against the Detroit Pistons, who nobody even sees coming. They got all kinds of talent, including the talent they drafted this year. Height and length and strength and size. You cannot run small ball like out there, shoot 53s a game, and expect Drew Holiday going to save you. That's the problem I have with the Boston Celtics. That is the problem I have with the Boston Celtics. Al Horford's too damn old to be the only backup you got down there that's legitimate for Kristaps Porzingis. He's too damn old. And if you think that's going to get it done, good luck. Because I'm telling you, it could. Al Horford always does the impossible. I've seen him play at an all-star level when I thought he was old 4 years ago. But that's the point. The OKC Thunder shut him down 4 years ago because they thought he was too old. You understand what I'm saying? Like, literally. So at this point, you got to understand, if you expect him to just turn back into Al Horford of two years ago, maybe. His game is low to the ground. He's an excellent basketball player. But I know better. You had better get you some youth down there. And you let go of Robert Williams, I agree with that. But you didn't bring in no big. I'm worried about the Celtics in regards to how people have their expectations so high for them, including myself. And when I started thinking about what they had and what they lost, Grant Williams is out. Marcus Smart is out. Robert Williams is out. Listen, they're bringing in Amari Brissett. Limited player, more so offensive-minded. He's going to be down there with Winion. Maybe he can be the answer just in a position. Going up against Joel. But listen, Boston has some things to consider, man. They better keep on making Willing. They better keep Willing and Dillon. They ain't done. I think is a chance. There is a chance that there's a big letdown in the Eastern Conference based on the players, the teams that y'all think are going to be really, really, really good versus what it is they're actually going to be able to do once that schedule hits. Because I'm telling you, 4 games against Detroit, 4 games against Orlando, everybody on the team 7 feet. You're going to run into some injuries. Y'all going to have to play those teams, and you're not expecting them to be any good, and they are. Charlotte, same thing. Indy, same thing. These are good teams, man. They're not the teams you think they are. Those 4 teams right there. Hear me and hear me good. Pacers, Charlotte, and Orlando and Detroit. If you don't take them seriously in the regular season, they're going to wear your little shallow teams down. I'm telling you. They're going to wear you down. And then you got to deal with Cleveland, New York. You know, there's more. That ain't the only teams you got to consider in the Eastern Conference. But the 4 that I'm paying attention to that I know no one's paying attention to, you better watch out for them. So these are the type of things like, look, the Eastern Conference think it's the same Eastern Conference. It's not. It's deeper. I didn't mention Philly again. You know what I'm saying? I didn't mention the Brooklyn Nets. You know, it's more. And so I just think the parity in the Eastern Conference could potentially be way more close than it was last year, because a lot of the teams that y'all think are just shooing into the NBA Finals do not have depth. They got a lot of new players, and they got young coaches. Adrian Griffin, year 1 in Milwaukee. What you think he about to do? He's just, you know, they're just going to run the pick and roll all day, and y'all think this is going to be enough. But not when you keep getting hit with rough teams with a lot of depth. You know, what happens if Buddy Hield rolls an ankle? An even better guard comes off the bench. That's what happens if Buddy Hield rolls an ankle. I'm telling y'all, man. y'all had better understand this about teams like Indy and Charlotte. They ain't what you think. Charlotte got the number 2 overall pick in Brandon Miller. Are y'all sure he ain't going to be crazy great? Are y'all sure he ain't going to hit like 53s this year? I'm not. And you couple that with LaMelo Ball being healthy. You couple that with all the other stuff that they got. You got Bridges coming back. They can come out the gate and win 5 straight games. And nobody even see it coming because they have the talent to do that. Williams, the other center that they picked up. Charlotte's one of the deepest teams in the league. Nobody sees it coming. I do. So I'm looking at teams like, you know, Denver, obviously in the Western Conference, but more so I'm thinking like Milwaukee and Boston. Like, y'all don't have better benches than these teams, man. Yeah, you have better top-heavy talent, and that's going to help you from game to game to game, or maybe in the playoffs if you can stay healthy. But throughout the meat and potatoes of the season, when you run into these teams, if they rotate their teams properly, if they play the way they're supposed to play with all these talented players and these good coaches like Carlisle, if you think you're going to just run through Pacer land, believe me, this ain't that year. They got Bruce Brown. This ain't that year, man. This is not the year to play around with teams like the Pacers. So I'm not saying they're good enough to beat the Milwaukee Bucks necessarily, but I'm not sure they're not, which is what is about to happen. What did we think of the Sacramento Kings at the beginning of last year? Not really anything, right? And what did they end up being by the end of the year? A contender, right? That's what I'm telling you is happening in the Eastern Conference with those 4 teams. That's exactly what I'm telling you. Be careful. So this is why I think the Celtics have been willing to make new moves, but I don't think their team is complete right now. They're not complete. They're going to be relying upon some guys, with all due respect, and maybe scrubs, or just a little better than that. And they're hoping to God that front 5 is going to get it done. And I just don't expect them to stay healthy. Derek White, nice player. Can he stay healthy? Maybe. Drew Holiday, he's getting older. Nobody's looking at that, but he's getting older. Jason Tatum, of course you expect him to stay healthy. Jaylen Brown, of course you expect him to stay healthy. But the guys around him, without proper adequate backups and Joe Mazzulla 3-point ball shooting all day, let down time. It's possible. Very, very possible. You know, I look at the Philadelphia 76ers. For them, it's about chemistry. Chemistry. They have the depth to a degree. In fact, I don't really know if they're, you got Bamba back there now. Maybe he can make a really big jump. I'm a believer in Bamba so long as he can stay healthy. He was never healthy for us. Never got off the bench for Orlando. Maybe this could be a big year for him. Usually guys who play behind Joel Embiid have really good seasons. I'm a Reed guy. I like Reed. They brought him back for Philadelphia, so that's a guy who's going to make a nice jump this year. Oubre's a nice player. So Philly looks like a team that's a bit more sturdy than them other ones, so long as they don't have the chemistry issues that they were put together to have. You understand what I'm saying? Put together to have chemistry issues. That Oubre piece, cannot stress it enough. That's brought in to be disruptive. Even though he's not a disruptive guy, Daryl Morey didn't bring him in to be a player. He brought him in to piss off James Harden. That is a problem. But they do have the depth to do something so long as those guys don't have any problems. Also bringing a new coach, Nick Nurse, questionable offensive scheme. Not everybody liked his scheme in Toronto, from what I understand. So this is something to think about. And then you look over at Toronto. Didn't mention them. But Scotty Barnes is still there. OG Anunoby's still there. They may have more chemistry than most of these teams because of the guys that they're bringing back that have played together for the last 7 years. You know? Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, they ain't trading none of these people. Now, granted, they did lose their point guard, but they're bringing in a very, very sturdy piece in Grady Dick, who can shoot the ball like crazy, and also a guy like Dennis Schroeder, who we know overachieved in the playoffs last year, who we know has a really high level he can reach when he plays his best, especially coming off what he just did in FIBA World Tournaments. He's feeling good about himself. He's going to contribute. So for me, it's like, I'm not sure Toronto doesn't come out with a 5-0 start just based on their chemistry. New coach, question marks, not overall great ceiling, probably won't win more than 40 games, but they can have a hot start. So like these are things like, all you Boston fans, the Milwaukee fans, look, I'm on board with their core looking great. If they can bring themselves a bench that can make it work out like Phoenix did for themselves, great, you look good. But until you do that, I'm not as high on y'all as I've been saying I was. Now when I look at y'all depth chart, now when I look at the field that y'all going to have to go up against in this 81-game schedule, and we usually say 82, but we understand that the in-season tournament is going to remove a game from everyone but the teams that are going to be in the championship, as to which those teams will play 83 games. That is an understanding. So it's like, look, if y'all don't know, if you don't understand this, it's going to get weird around here. The Western Conference, y'all got the same problem. I don't like the fact that people aren't mentioning Sacramento enough. I don't like that because it feels like the league is going to be caught off guard by a team that's already proven themselves to be a contender last year. They didn't lose nobody. Why don't y'all think the beam going to be lit up? They not catching me off guard. The Rockets, they got more talent than just about everybody, whether people want to admit it or not. They got, because of the lottery and the stuff that they've done, they got about as much talent as any team in the league. The Rockets could come out and win 40 games this year. It wouldn't shock me. Amen Thompson, Cam Whitmore, Alperen Sengun. How long you gonna think Sengun gonna go without making an All-Star team? You know, Jabari Smith, second overall pick last year, plays both sides of the floor, 3-point shooting extraordinaire. Like these are guys I know are there, man. They brought in Fred VanVleet from Toronto. They brought in Dylan Brooks, who had a fantastic FIBA World Championships. You understand what I'm saying? Don't count on the Rockets not being very good. Do not count on that. You know who their coach is. Same one who took the Celtics to the finals. You know? So it's like, Udoka is who I'm referring to. Don't expect that Golden State, just because they have Steph Curry coming in and a bunch of old dudes, is just going to push past teams like this. They not. They're really not this year, and it's not happening. So I'm telling y'all, man, the NBA is about to get shaken up in a way that it hasn't been before, because more Sacramentos and Indies are going to be contenders, and more of these teams that have been put together to win are going to have injury issues and have questionable coaching situations. So, look, I don't know how it's going to shake out, but I'm telling y'all, a lot of people are just shooing teams up to the top, not taking into account what all they're going to have to face throughout the course of the season. And for me, we ain't making that mistake on this channel. No, ma'am, no, sir, we're not doing that. So that's what I wanted to say, man. It's a lot of stuff happening. Y'all sure Wembanyama ain't going to be a crazy great player? Y'all sure he ain't going to come out and just be an all-star out the gate? I'm not sure. I know the San Antonio Spurs haven't made the type of moves that I would want to make them make to assure that he could have an opportunity to do that.
Maybe it's by design, but I do think San Antonio made some mistakes here. Waving campaign and Reggie Bullock, I wouldn't have done either one of those things. I would not have done either one of those things. Those are good, sturdy, veteran role players that could help you be a good enough team just in case he does come out the gate and is a great player. You know, you guys assume he just wants to have a tanking season. I'm not sure Wembanyama wants to lose in his rookie year. Not when you consider he's 7'5" and is going to have the ball in his hands most of the time. Nah, I'm not sure he wants to lose at all. I think they are underestimating that kid's willingness to be unhappy early. And that could be a mistake for San Antonio. Something else, the Portland Trailblazers, the moves that they're making, the ball's going to be in Scoot's hands. Are y'all sure he ain't going to be great right out the gate? I'm not sure. Especially when you consider the jump that Shaedon Sharpe can make. They might be a pretty solid team. I'm not saying they're making the playoffs. In fact, I'm telling you they probably won't. But they are a jab for all these teams that think they're the Denvers and all them, think they're just going to push through the Western Conference. You're going to have to deal with them 4 times a year. You know what I'm saying? Ayton, you think Ayton's not going to have a breakout season? He may. Don't count on him not. You know, with the type of opportunity he's going to be in, coupled with Robert Williams behind him, that's defensive help that he didn't have in Phoenix. Those are looks and touches he didn't have in Phoenix. You might be rejuvenated playing with a guy like Scoot Henderson. Scoot's going to get them lobs. So it's like these are the type of things I just understand. Are these teams going to be super great? Maybe not. But are they going to be a problem for the teams that are considering themselves super great? Yes. They're going to be a problem for you night in and night out. No nights off in this league. That's essentially what I'm telling you. No nights off. So a lot of y'all teams need nights off to get where y'all trying to go. And that's going to be a problem for you. So that's what I got to say, man. That is really my thought on this, man. That's my second NBA video of the day. I'm about to get some food, listen to this. And if I have some more thoughts, I will bring them back to you. But for now, my name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching, and I'm out.